have a confession. I have $55,000 of student loan debt. Was college worth it? I think that's a question that a lot of young people are asking right now, including their parents and guardians. Well, it depends on your perspective and what you value, but more importantly, who you ask. Have you ever heard of the parable of the two villages? I'd love to share it with you to give you some context. A man who was traveling came upon a farmer working in his field and asked him what the people in the next village were like. The farmer asked, "What were the people like in the last village you visited?" The man responded, "Ugh, they were rude, unfriendly, dishonest people." "Well, you'll find the people in the next village are the same," said the farmer. Another man who was traveling to the same village came up to the same farmer somewhat later and asked him what the people in the next village were like. Again, the farmer asked, "What were the people like in the last village you visited?" The second man responded, "Ah, they were so kind and friendly and generous, great people." "Well, you'll find people in the next village are the same," said the farmer. So again, it depends on who you're asking. You can ask someone and they can say that it was a waste of time and a total scam. Or you can ask someone like me, and I can tell you that it was one of the best times in my life, and it was worth every penny of the $55,000. But why would I say that? Especially in today's economic times. Remember how we talked about rites of passages in the last couple of videos? And how I shared with you that my marriage is a current rite of passage? Well, college was my first rite of passage. If it weren't for college, I wouldn't have learned the two major, universal, and necessary skills that you'll need for a lifetime, regardless of the economy, regardless of AI, and regardless of what else is to come. Number one, communication. Remember how I told you that I accidentally got the wrong degree? Well, after so many years later and seeing how people talk and communicate with each other nowadays, I have come to believe that I didn't get the wrong degree, but I got the best degree for me. And number two, critical thinking skills. Shit, it's practically illegal to think nowadays. But if you can critically think and communicate, you're irreplaceable and will always be relevant no matter how many changes we go through in a society. As you can see in the past few videos, I'm currently rotating through 3 different books, finding the connections and communicating them to you. This skill was developed in college by having to take 4 to 5 classes a semester, study the readings, and write a paper or give a speech. Let's not even talk about the soft skills, such as managing your calendar, building a support system, and learning how to live on your own with a stranger who later becomes your roommate. And the list goes on. So yeah, you can see it as $55,000 of debt, and like the first traveler who found rude and unfriendly people in the last village, or you can choose to see it like I see it, $55,000 of investment, and like the second traveler who found friendly and kind people in the last village. Now you can say, "Oh, but Kay, sure, isn't when you invest, you're supposed to see a return? You still haven't paid off your debt, so how is it an investment?" Okay, so you're right in that way, from a financial standpoint. But for me, as an only kid that was raised by screens and no older siblings or older people in general to show me the ropes on how to cook, clean, do laundry, and everything in between, at the very least, I was amongst my peers who probably had their parents or older siblings to show them how to do certain things. And also, I was able to teach them things that they didn't learn by having so much guidance, such as there's no such thing as a stupid question. That is truly the one thing that has guided me through my whole educational career and into life. And look, let's be real. We're going to be making all kinds of investments in our lifetime, but they're not only monetary. It's also with our time, attention, and our effort. So as you're making investments in potentially a home, a car, friendships, relationships, your career, your kids, etc., don't forget to invest in yourself because it is the fastest way for you to see a return. For me, $55,000 of an investment is what my parents didn't teach me in 18 years and that I was able to learn in 5 in a controlled and safe container called college. Speaking of time and money investments in the job market, it's like what they used to say before AI, that a high school diploma is nothing nowadays, and a college degree is the new bare minimum. Well, I still believe that a human as someone who was on the track to become a teacher, I actually agree with them and still believe that the college experience is the bare minimum at a human and societal developmental level. I've actually believed for a long time that everyone deserves a chance and opportunity to have the college experience, whether young or old. I don't believe it's a privilege to go to college anymore. If anything, I believe it needs to be the new foundation of the fabric of our society. But the difference is to not only focus on developing certain specialized skills, but to develop as a whole human being, to learn, to understand, to develop, to implement, and to integrate skills of the mind, body, and spiritual practices, along with the critical thinking, along with communicating through reading, writing, speaking, and creating. And for me and the Creator Leadership Academy vision that has been planted in my heart and my mind, it's going to be done through a multimedia lens, specific in education, entertainment, and entrepreneurship. So the last thoughts that I want to leave you with is a quote that I learned in college and has never left me, along with a liberating attitude, belief, and perspective worth considering as you continue on your journey. I want to give a shout out to my partner who actually left me a sticky note this morning that inspired this video. And it says, "Sitting with these quotes by Maya Angelou." And the quote is, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And I actually want to give a shout out to Dr. Patton and everyone in the Lead Center at Northern Arizona University. That quote circulated through the Lead Center. The Lead Center was the multicultural center during my time. And during Dr. Patton's time as the director of Student Support Services, which is a part of the TRIO programs, this is the quote that was our North Star for me and my peers during that cohort. And it's one of the quotes that I haven't forgotten since I've graduated. And it's so good that I actually want to say it again. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So yeah, I can sit here all day and talk about debt and repayment and the way I did that and the way I said that and the way that I say it. But I'm hoping that if you're watching this, I'm wanting to give you a different perspective. That if you're someone like me who has college investments and it's not paying off exactly the way that you thought it would, I want you to know that you're not alone. And I want to give you your flowers for getting up each day, trying to figure it out, especially in the world that we live in today. Because heck, you could have given up a long time ago, but you're still showing up. You're still here. And I know what it's like to have that debt looming over your shoulders. But for a long time, I lived in shame around it, especially when I graduated and I was at the top of my class. And ever since then, all I can think about is I had everything going for me. So why do I feel like such a failure? But the thing is, and the second thing I want to share with you is another timeless quote that circulated Northern Arizona University. And the quote is, "Your attitude determines your altitude." I'll say it again. Your attitude determines your altitude. And it worked for us because our campus was sitting at 7,000 feet above sea level. So my attitude, despite the typical perspective of this financial situation, and that most people wouldn't call me successful, but for me, I actually am successful because my college experience reminded me that I can do hard things. And not only that, I can also finish things. And even though it's been 13 years since I've graduated from college, I still believe in myself so much that I haven't given up on figuring out on how I can share and contribute my whole self to our society. Not just my skills, but my mind and my spirit through this vessel called a body. And to be honest, I'm at a point that I've released the pressure of figuring it out and proving myself. Because just like this second quote that my partner shared with me from Maya Angelou, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. I'll say it again, because maybe you're like me and you need a new definition of success that has nothing to do with money and finances, but more so about how we move through the world. So here it is again. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And so if I die with these debts, I can tell you this. Number one thing that I have been most proud of myself why I consider myself a success is because throughout this whole process, ever since I was a little kid, I've stayed true to myself and have continuously committed to the path that I believe I'm meant to travel on, even if it's the path less traveled. So was college worth it? Well, it depends on which traveler you ask. So you tell me in the comments below if you've gone or graduated from college, or are you considering of going to college? And what kind of traveler are you or would you like to be, and why? I look forward to reading your answers and getting to know you a little bit more. But until then, if you'd like to connect even further, follow me on my Instagram at IamKShort. So I'll meet you there, or I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye now. Okay, you're still here. Great. Because there's actually one more thing that I wanted to share with you, but I didn't feel like it quite fit with today's message. So, as you know, my vision is to build a creator leadership academy. But as you and I both know, it's not going to happen overnight, but we got to start somewhere. So, starting for me is helping you get started if you feel like we're on a similar path. And that looks like through coaching, consulting, or whatever I'm currently offering in the moment in my roadmap. And I would love nothing more than for you to be one of my students, mentees, proteges, siblings. But before you even consider me as your teacher, your mentor, your coach, or your guide, I want you to know this. That's best said by Bruce Lee, my current inspiration, influence, and role model. From the book that we've been pulling from, Be Like Water, The Teachings of Bruce Lee, written by his daughter, Shannon Lee. And it says, while Bruce Lee's life provides us with an impressive example, remember that we are focusing on you here and the course and direction of your life. His life story is complete in form of Bruce Lee. Yours is ongoing, and Bruce can be an amazing pointer of the way. In fact, he himself said, remember, I am no teacher. I can merely be a signpost for a traveler who is lost. It is up to you to decide on the direction. All I can offer is an experience, but never a conclusion. So even what I have said needs to be thoroughly examined by you. I might be able to help you to discover and examine your problem by awakening your awareness. A teacher, a good teacher that is, functions as a pointer to truth, but not a giver of truth. Another way to say this, don't give up your sovereignty or personal power. I'm going to say that again. Don't give up your sovereignty or your personal power. Claim your own path and your own experience. Be respectful and grateful for the signposts you encounter, the lessons you learn, and the teachers who point the way. But remember that you and you alone are responsible for your path and your growth. Goosebumps, man. Yeah. I wish someone would have told me that when I was younger. I wish that there were more teachers that acted as signposts along the way. But that's okay. That's the whole point of this channel. That's the whole point of no role models. That even though you possibly had no role models growing up, that doesn't mean you can't become one yourself by becoming who you needed when you were younger. So if you decide to work with me, remember, my role is to be a signpost of what has worked for me in my life. And all I can do is point you to other signposts on your path. And so this requires for you to be a certain kind of student, to not come to me thinking that I have all the answers, because I don't. But if you haven't noticed already, I'm in constant practice of observing, of researching, of asking questions, of making connections, of critically thinking, and that I refuse to give up my sovereignty and personal power to anything or anyone outside of me. It's taken me years to regain it, to remember it, and now in the process and practice of living it. But it's taken investments, the investment of time, the investment of energy, the investment of effort, and yes, the investment of finances. And remembering that investing in yourself is the fastest way to see a return. So yeah, I've invested $55,000 into myself and my development. And that's just through the traditional educational system. I continue to invest in myself outside of that. You want to know the real truth? Not only am I so much worth the investments I've already made, but more importantly, you are worth so much more than $55,000. And let's be honest, that might be hard to believe for some people. That's the work that I've done on myself. Not only the belief that I can do it, but the belief that I'm worth it. And how much does that truly cost? What is the price of that belief? I'll tell you, for me, it's priceless. I'm actually grateful it was as cheap as it was for $55,000 in 5 years of my life, because it's already paid off. For the 13 years I've been making progress and being resilient, and for being persistent and not giving up on myself. How can you put a price on that? So whatever price I'm asking from you for whatever offer I have during the time that you find this video, know that it's because I know that you know that I know that I'm worth it and that you're worth it, and that more importantly, who you're becoming is worth it. Every single dollar, every single hour, every single effort, your younger self and your future self deserve to experience all that you know you can be. So if you're ready to invest in yourself, click the link below and learn more about what I have to offer. And I look forward to connecting, collaborating, and working with you soon. Until then, seek the signposts that work for you, and good luck on your journey. Wait a second. We should probably drink water instead of just getting started. Just drink some water. Stay hydrated. All right.